Okay, today we're taking a look at Johnny Hazard Volume 6. This collects the newspaper dailies between 1952 and 1954. It's put out by Hermes Press. They do their usual good job with hardback, really nice sewn binding, not glued. So this thing is going to hold up. They have a kind of a short intro on Frank Robbins, the creator of Johnny Hazard. I think they've had a few stronger intros in the past, but this one's still good. Now, this particular edition collects 6 different story continuities, and the art here in this is just fantastic. So some of the earlier ones that they have done have not actually, I don't know if they didn't have the original press proofs on all of it, but sometimes the clarity in the reproduction of the art was not, fantastic. Here, this is like reading it for the first time. It's super clear, really good reproduction art. And, you don't have any blurring or anything. I think some of the earlier volumes, maybe 1 and 2, Hermes just didn't have access to the art, but here it looks absolutely fantastic. Now there are 6 continuities. I find that this first one here, this is the weakest. It's kind of got this plot. It's a little bit more kind of a supernatural overtones. This woman claims she's, lives forever and just uses that to influence this one man's family. And there's, high adventure plot off of that. I found it to be the weakest and not a typical, Johnny Hazard, which is more kind of the high adventure style without actually any of the supernatural. So that was definitely the weakest of the stories. And then when this is done, again, the art's fantastic. And Robbins, he's one of those unique creators who writes and does the art. And he's just absolutely fantastic. Now, the other 5 continuities are all fantastic. Here you can see here we're getting a storyline that's kind of relevant, quote unquote. It's around the Queen Elizabeth's coronation, which happened at this time frame. And it's kind of neat. There's a couple of stories surrounding that. So this one here is the crown jewels get stolen and they need to be recovered. That's kind of a really neat heist scenario. But then once that continuity ends and the jewels get recovered and everything, you have another continuity, another story surrounding the actual coronation regarding, hey, here's the parade. So here we're at the 3rd continuity. The coronation occurs and a murder happens during the parade, and then Johnny's got to solve that. Now, this story doesn't have too many callbacks to some of the other individuals. There is little Jill here, but, some of the more fan favorites, like Brandy, unfortunately, are just not in this volume. It's almost all entirely new people. So again, a very interesting, well-done high adventure. I love all of the continuities except the first one. It's kind of weak, but the other 5 are just fantastic. This development of what happens from witnessing the murder during the parade for the coronation of Queen Elizabeth is excellent. And that one resolves. Johnny ends up in France, and then the continuity, the 4th story there has to do with a smuggling gems out of France, how it happens, and Johnny gets involved in that. And this is all good, typical, really interesting high adventure Johnny Hazard, and just the art is fantastic. I mean, Frank Robbins really knew his craft. So then after this and the jewel smuggling, you get to a continuity that has to do with art forgery. There's this rich, wealthy Texan, comes to France, wants to impress his fiancée, and tries to buy some art, is, a victim of fraud because he doesn't really know what he's doing, and Johnny helps out there. And then there is a final continuity here. And let me get to that. And it has to do with, it follows on from that earlier one with the art and the Texan and the fiance. And she's been like threatened. She's kind of a victim of domestic violence from a prior boyfriend, not the Texan, who's trying to kill her. If I can't have her, no one can, that type of thing. And there's kind of a circus subplot. So again, they're all excellent. They're not super long continuities. I know some of them in the past, they're over, almost running a whole year on the continuities. That doesn't happen here. Let's back up and see the chapter breakdown here. Almost all of them, they don't run more than 50 or 60 pages, and that's with 2 dailies a page. I've seen some of these Hermes Press reprints of Johnny Hazard. You've got 120 pages on a single continuity. But none of it I find is actually too short. They're all interesting. They're all able to tell the story again, except for really this first continuity, which just doesn't fit with the Johnny Hazard high adventure feel. But, you're still getting great value in these other 5 stories. And again, art's still fantastic in that first one. So I would absolutely recommend picking this up. This is just a fantastic, fantastic collection. I'm just really glad that, Hermes Press, I think they do charge a little bit more, but it's a fantastic production again. So many of these companies, they just glue the binding, even in hardcovers. But here, this is a great job. Highly recommend it. If you like high adventure comics, this is completely up your alley. Till next time.